Imagine trying to fall asleep when it's 84 degrees below zero. Not inside a cozy home with central heating, but out on the open Arctic tundra or in a dome made of snow. For most of us, that sounds not just uncomfortable, but impossible. Yet, for the Inuit people, this level of cold isn't an obstacle. It's normal life. And somehow, they don't just endure it. They sleep soundly through it. So how do they do it? The answer begins with what they wear. Inuit traditional clothing isn't just warm. It's a masterpiece of survival engineering. At the heart of this gear is the amauti, a fur-lined parka designed to trap and conserve heat using layers of caribou hide. Caribou fur is uniquely suited for insulation because of its hollow hairs, over 700,000 of them per square inch, each one working like a miniature thermos, holding body heat close to the skin. The layering strategy isn't random. There's a system. The innermost layer, usually with the fur facing inward, draws moisture away from the body. The middle layer acts as an insulating cushion, while the outermost layer shields against wind and snow. If you wanted to buy a jacket with similar effectiveness today, you'd likely be paying luxury brand prices for something that still wouldn't match the original. Unlike most of us who strip down before bed, Inuit people often sleep in their clothes. It's not a matter of habit, it's survival. In temperatures where exposed skin can freeze in under a minute, removing your layers isn't just foolish, it's dangerous. But clothes are only the beginning of this extreme sleep strategy. Diet plays a major role too. Traditional Inuit meals are high in fat, offering energy and a protective layer of body insulation. Fat serves as both fuel and warmth. It's nature's built-in heating pad, and far more reliable than an electric blanket in the Arctic wilderness. When the sun disappears and it's time to rest, the sleeping space itself becomes critical. Contrary to what some imagine, Inuit don't just lie on bare ice. Sleeping platforms inside igloos are carefully prepared with caribou hides, fur side down first for insulation, then another layer fur side up for comfort. This double-layer method traps heat and creates air pockets that keep sleepers warm, even when the air outside is brutal. Body heat is shared too. Families sleep close together, using each other like personal radiators. A group of 4 can raise the interior temperature of an igloo by 40 degrees Fahrenheit, taking it from a deadly minus 84 degrees Fahrenheit to a frigid but survivable minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit. It may still be freezing, but the difference is life-saving. Preparation for sleep begins long before lying down. A hearty, fat-rich meal before bed kickstarts diet-induced thermogenesis, the process where digestion itself generates internal heat. It's like having a little furnace in your belly working overtime while you rest. From clothing to calories, every detail is intentional. In the Arctic, sleep isn't just rest, it's strategy. If you're enjoying this video, hit that red subscribe button. It's free, quick, and helps more people discover Arctic stories like this. Your support keeps this channel going. It sounds like a contradiction, sleeping inside a house made entirely of snow to stay warm. But the igloo is one of the most ingeniously designed structures ever created by humans. It defies common logic, yet works with natural physics to provide safety and warmth in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. First, the snow itself. While snow is frozen water, it's also filled with air, lots of it. Freshly fallen snow can contain up to 95% trapped air, and air is an excellent insulator. When snow is compacted and shaped properly, it creates a structure that traps warmth and blocks wind while allowing for subtle air exchange. This natural porosity is key. It keeps oxygen flowing without letting heat escape or cold drafts blow in. A well-built igloo can be 40 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer inside than the temperature outside, and that's without any fire or artificial heat source. But the real genius lies in the shape. The dome design isn't just aesthetically pleasing, it's aerodynamic, minimizing surface area exposed to the cold. It also creates a gentle circulation of warm air. Heat rises to the top of the dome, cools slightly along the interior surface, then moves downward without forming harsh drafts. The structure acts like a self-regulating thermal system. The entrance is its own masterpiece. Rather than simply cutting a hole into the side, traditional igloos include a tunnel that dips downward before rising again to the sleeping platform. Cold air sinks, so this entrance tunnel traps the frigid air at the bottom, keeping it away from the upper sleeping area. It's like nature's own airlock system. Inside, the sleeping platform is elevated, maximizing warmth since heat naturally rises. The temperature difference between the tunnel floor and the sleeping platform can be as much as 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Some igloos even include multiple levels, with the highest level reserved for rest and the lower levels used for tasks or gear storage. Lighting and warmth come from an elegant and low-tech solution. The kolik, a traditional stone lamp. Fueled by seal or whale oil and lit with a moss wick, the kolik burns slowly and steadily, producing both light and gentle heat. It doesn't eat up oxygen or produce dangerous smoke like a fire would in an enclosed space. Its sloped design controls the oil flow and flame size with precision, long before thermostats or fuel regulators were invented. As body heat accumulates, a remarkable thing happens. A thin layer of snow on the inside walls melts slightly and then refreezes, creating a smooth, glassy ice lining. This new inner shell reinforces the igloo, sealing gaps and making the structure even stronger over time. In a sense, the longer you live in it, the better it becomes. While the typical igloo stands around 10 feet high and 12 feet in diameter, large ceremonial ones could span 20 feet or more. Smaller emergency shelters for 1 or 2 people can be built in under an hour, a lifesaver in sudden storms or while hunting far from home. In a world before central heating and construction manuals, the Inuit designed a snow shelter that rivals modern insulation, a marvel of survival architecture, carved from the very environment trying to kill you. While igloos are engineering marvels, Inuit life doesn't always come with the luxury of a perfectly built snow dome. Hunters, travelers, and families on the move often find themselves caught far from shelter, exposed to the vast, unforgiving tundra, where temperatures plunge to minus 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind alone can rob you of life. In those moments, survival depends on improvisation. When caught out in the open, the Inuit turn to emergency shelters. One of the fastest and most reliable is the snow cave. Unlike an igloo, which requires carefully cut snow blocks, a snow cave can be dug directly into a dense snowdrift, ideally on the lee side of a hill, where the wind has naturally packed the snow hard enough for structure. The process is quick but methodical. First, they dig a tunnel that slopes downward, once again using the principle that cold air sinks. The sleeping area is carved out higher than the entrance, creating a warm pocket of trapped air. A small breathing hole is poked through the roof to allow for oxygen flow and prevent carbon dioxide buildup. In about 30 minutes, they've built a shelter that can be up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than the air outside, a critical difference when your body's core temperature is at risk. But what if even that isn't possible? In especially brutal conditions, when snow is too shallow or time too short, Inuit travelers create windbreaks using whatever is available: snow walls in a half-moon shape, rock outcrops, or even gear piled strategically. Reducing exposure to wind can lower the wind chill factor by as much as 25%. Wind isn't just uncomfortable, it strips away the body's thin boundary of warm air, making hypothermia set in faster than still air at colder temperatures. Sleep positioning becomes a matter of physics and survival. Inuit typically curl into a tight ball, minimizing exposed surface area and preserving warmth near vital organs. Sleeping directly on snow or frozen ground is avoided at all costs. These surfaces draw heat away hundreds of times faster than air. It's like trying to rest while wrapped around a frozen steel pipe. Instead, they build insulation layers from the ground up. Caribou hides, fur side down to trap air, followed by mats made from woven moss or grasses, and topped with more furs for cover. This setup drastically slows heat loss from contact with the ground. Breathing in the open presents its own dangers. In extreme cold, every exhale leaks heat, and the delicate skin of the face is prone to frostbite. To counter this, Inuit use the fur ruff on their parkas, a circular ring of thick fur around the hood, as a natural barrier. By breathing into the enclosed space, they warm the air around their face without fogging their vision or trapping moisture. And then there's hand and foot positioning, the final frontier of frostbite defense. Fingers and toes, being the farthest from the heart, lose heat the fastest. When sleeping outside, hands are tucked deep into armpits and feet are curled close to the torso, minimizing heat loss from extremities. It may look like simple stillness. In reality, it's a carefully choreographed pose, one that could be the line between sleep and never waking up. When it's minus 84 degrees Fahrenheit outside, your biggest enemy might not be the wind or the ice. It might be your own brain. For most people, extreme cold triggers an immediate panic response. The heart races, breathing becomes shallow, muscles tighten. It's the classic fight or flight mechanism kicking in, your brain ringing the alarm bell, shouting, "We're all going to die." It doesn't help that the symptoms of fear, rapid breath and increased heart rate, also accelerate heat loss. But the Inuit have mastered something different: calm. Through generations of Arctic living, they've developed mental techniques that allow them to face life-threatening temperatures without flinching. One of the most powerful of these is controlled breathing. Rather than gasping in fear, they take slow, deep breaths, intentionally slowing their respiration. Every exhale retains more warmth, and the slower breathing pattern helps reduce heart rate, conserving internal energy and easing the mind into a relaxed state. It's not unlike a form of cold weather meditation. Studies show controlled breathing can lower heart rate by up to 20 beats per minute during stress. For the Inuit, this translates to a calmer body, slower heat loss, and a smoother path to sleep, even in a world that seems to be trying to freeze them alive. The mental shift goes deeper. Long-term exposure to the Arctic changes not just habits, but perception. Many Inuit describe a point where cold is no longer felt as pain. It's simply a sensation, a fact of the environment, like wind or silence. This psychological reframing prevents the spiral of panic and allows the body to focus on what matters most, staying warm and still. They also practice positive visualization, a mental tool to prepare for sleep in the cold. Before lying down, many imagine warm memories: summer sunshine, the heat from a kulik lamp, the cozy feel of thick furs against skin. These images aren't just comforting. They trigger relaxation and can shift the brain from alertness into rest mode. Even brainwave patterns reflect this adaptation. Studies show that people accustomed to extreme cold fall asleep faster and reach deeper stages of sleep more efficiently. Their nervous systems respond differently, with blood vessels constricting less, allowing better blood flow to extremities, reducing the risk of frostbite, and helping maintain a stable internal temperature. With time, Inuit hunters and elders develop an almost sixth sense, an intuitive ability to recognize when cold is merely uncomfortable and when it crosses into danger. That internal gauge is honed through experience, not textbooks. It's the result of sleeping on ice, feeling the bite of frost, and learning how to listen to a body's quiet warnings before it's too late. And this intuitive adaptation is just as essential as any piece of fur or food. Because without the ability to stay calm, focused, and in control, no amount of clothing or insulation can stop the cold from creeping in. In the Arctic, your mind isn't just a passenger, it's part of your survival gear. While the mind may be the first line of defense, the materials surrounding the sleeper are equally vital, and no material has proven more reliable for the Inuit than caribou hide, nature's version of high-performance insulation. At first glance, it may just look like fur, but caribou hide is a thermal marvel. Each square inch contains approximately 350,000 hollow hairs, and those microscopic tubes trap air better than modern synthetic materials. When layered properly, with the fur facing inward toward the body, these hides can create a temperature differential of up to 60 degrees Fahrenheit between the outside air and the sleeper's skin. Think of it like memory foam designed by evolution. It molds, breathes, insulates, and doesn't lose its shape after a few years. Used as bedding or wrapped as clothing, caribou hides act as a personal cocoon of warmth, even in the absence of fire or shelter. This same attention to material extends to every survival decision, even down to the type of snow used in a sleeping situation. The Inuit don't just see snow, they read it. There are dozens of terms in Inuktitut to describe snow's different textures, densities, and conditions. Powder snow may be terrible for building structures, but is ideal when packed around a body as an insulating blanket. On the other hand, wind-packed snow holds its shape better and is preferred for constructing windbreaks and snow caves. Knowing which snow to use and when can make the difference between a restorative nap and a fatal one. When building temporary shelters or layering snow around their sleeping area, the Inuit are creating a microclimate, a small, carefully managed pocket of warmth in an otherwise brutal world. Covering the body with a light layer of freshly fallen snow can raise this microclimate by up to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It's one of the rare situations where being buried in snow is not just tolerable, it's strategic. In group scenarios, there's even more to work with. Sleeping back to back with another person multiplies body heat while reducing exposed surface area. It's an instinctive, effective way to survive, and it works better than most sleeping bags money can buy. But survival doesn't always mean deep sleep. In extreme cold, the Inuit often don't aim for 8 continuous hours. Instead, they rely on a strategy known as Arctic napping, short sleep cycles lasting 90 minutes to 2 hours, punctuated by brief periods of movement. This staggered approach prevents the body from cooling too much during long periods of stillness. After each cycle, the sleeper may rise briefly to walk around or adjust clothing, generating new internal warmth before settling down again. It's less like sleeping through the night and more like strategically drifting in and out of rest, a rhythm tuned to the pace of survival. When combined, hides, snow types, sleep positions, and napping cycles, these techniques form an interwoven system. Every element supports the other. Nothing is accidental. To outsiders, it might look like the Inuit are merely making do in a frozen world. But in reality, they've created one of the most finely tuned survival systems on the planet, all while getting some decent sleep. If clothes, shelter, and mindset form the armor against the cold, then food is the fire burning within. In the Arctic, eating before sleep isn't a luxury or a late-night craving. It's a crucial part of the survival playbook. In fact, what and when the Inuit eat directly influences their ability to sleep safely through sub-zero nights. Let's start with the basics. Fat is everything. Up to 75% of the traditional Inuit diet comes from fat, primarily from marine mammals like seals and whales. This isn't by accident. Fat provides more than twice the calories per gram compared to protein or carbohydrates, 9 calories versus 4, making it the most efficient fuel in a place where calories are burned at high speed just to stay alive. It's not just about how much fat, but when it's eaten. The Inuit often consume protein-rich foods earlier in the evening and reserve high-fat foods for closer to bedtime. This sequence taps into the body's different metabolic timelines. Protein digestion peaks around 3 to 4 hours after eating, giving an initial burst of warmth. Meanwhile, fat metabolizes slowly, providing a long, sustained release of heat, ideal for keeping the body warm through the coldest hours of the night. This strategy creates overlapping waves of internal heat production, like a relay team passing the torch through the darkness. One of the most iconic Inuit foods used for this purpose is muktuk, the skin and blubber of whales. A 4-ounce portion can provide around 500 calories, most of it from fat. It's dense, chewy, and loaded with omega-3s and fat-soluble vitamins. It's not a comfort food. It's survival nutrition that turns the human body into a slow-burning furnace. Then there's a kutak, often referred to, somewhat misleadingly, as Eskimo ice cream. Traditionally, akutak is made by mixing animal fat, caribou, seal, or moose, with berries, and sometimes snow. It's not a dessert. It's a high-calorie, cold-weather energy bomb, designed to provide slow-burning fuel throughout the night. It may sound strange to outsiders, but in the Arctic, it's the kind of snack that can mean the difference between waking up and not. Hydration also plays a delicate role. Drink too much water, and you risk having to leave your warm sleeping space in the middle of the night. A dangerous prospect when the air outside could freeze your breath in seconds. Drink too little, and dehydration impairs thermoregulation, making it harder for the body to stay warm. The Inuit solution? Slightly fatty broths made from boiled meat or bones, offering hydration, nutrients, and calories in a single warming package. Even the timing of meals is calculated. Eating roughly 2 hours before sleep allows digestion to peak just as the body settles in, turning the digestive system into a natural space heater from the inside out. And on the coldest nights, seal blubber becomes the go-to. Just 2 ounces can provide 400 calories and a significant boost to circulation, especially to extremities, helping prevent frostbite as the sleeper enters deep rest. In the Arctic, food is more than nourishment. It's fuel, insulation, and heat, all wrapped into one. A bedtime snack here isn't about indulgence, it's survival with purpose. In the frozen heart of the Arctic, where temperatures can fall to minus 84 degrees Fahrenheit, where wind rips across the tundra like a blade, and where frostbite can set in within minutes, the Inuit have done something extraordinary. They've made sleep possible, but not by chance, not by some superhuman toughness. They've done it through a finely tuned, time-honed system of strategic adaptation. Let's step back and look at the full picture. Their clothing, layered with precision, made from caribou hides with hundreds of thousands of hollow hairs per square inch, acts as a mobile heating unit. Their shelters, whether it's a perfectly built igloo or a quickly dug snow cave, trap and preserve every calorie of warmth, using the science of air pockets, elevation, and insulation, long before such things were ever diagrammed in textbooks. Their sleep positions, mental discipline, and group warmth sharing are tactical. Their fur ruffs recycle warm breath to protect the face, and their curled posture minimizes exposed surface area to reduce heat loss. Their hands and feet are placed like puzzle pieces around the core, not in comfort, but in survival geometry. Mentally, they have trained themselves not to panic. While most people would freeze from the inside out at the mere shock of the cold, the Inuit regulate their breath, their thoughts, and even their perception of cold. To them, it's not pain. It's just another condition to navigate. Their food isn't just sustenance, it's survival engineering. From muktuk to akutak, from protein timing to diet-induced thermogenesis, every bite they consume before bed is chosen for how it will fuel their body's furnace while they sleep. Even hydration is calculated, ensuring they stay warm without risking a deadly trip into the cold for a bathroom break. And sleep itself? It isn't defined by luxury or long hours. It's broken into short cycles, Arctic naps, just long enough to rest, but not so long the body begins to lose core heat. They wake, move, rewarm, then return to rest. This rhythm turns the night from a threat into a challenge they know how to meet. What seems miraculous from the outside, the idea of falling asleep in conditions that would shut down entire cities, is, for the Inuit, the result of thousands of years of knowledge passed down by lived experience. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random. Every choice, from the direction of a snow wall to the angle of a kulik flame, has purpose. So, the next time you find yourself wrapped in a blanket, grumbling because your thermostat dropped below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, remember this. There are people who would find your room tropical. People who could close their eyes and fall asleep, not despite the cold, but in partnership with it. Because to the Inuit, sleep isn't the luxury of warmth. It's the art of survival, in a land where warmth must be earned. Their tools, fat and fur, wind and snow, breath and memory, tradition and instinct. Their reward, waking up again, in a world that tries every night to keep you from doing just that.